Hey everybody, it's Kelly. Welcome back to another episode of Ask a Therapist. Raise your hand if you've ever heard of monkey branching outside of the comments on this channel. I was asked a question here in the channel by a viewer about what were my thoughts about monkey branching. This is a situation that I think a lot of queer people find themselves in fairly often due to heterosexism in general. The most technical definition for monkey branching is the practice of going from one branch to another, each branch being a relationship. There's intentionality behind the swinging from relationship to a relationship. If a monkey is in the tree and they're swinging through the forest, they don't tend to grab onto one branch and just randomly jump to another one or just hang there for a while. They use the branches to get where they're going in life. And that's kind of how this term is used when it comes to relationships. You've got one person who's going from branch to branch to branch and sort of moving along their way, and each of the branches are the people that they're sort of grabbing onto to get them from place to place. Unlike the forest, this is actually damaging for the branches and not so great for the person who is using these branches, relationships, to get where they want to go. I would absolutely say that a person who goes from relationship to relationship and has their next one lined up before they get out of the one that they're in, I would say that's a highly insecure person. There's a whole lot of things that are going on here for each of the people in this, and not all of them are as nefarious as it feels when I'm using this term, but it's pretty significant what's happening here, and it is common. Because it's so common, if you are in the dating world, you should know about this. Is it cheating? That's super debatable. For a while, there was a term used that was emotional cheating. In these monkey branching scenarios, the person who is going from relationship to relationship might not be physically involved with the person they're moving on to until they've broken up with the person they're moving on from. However, the definition of cheating is different in every relationship. There are relationships that are open relationships, and as long as you're acting within the rules of that relationship, it's not cheating. There are other relationships where anything physical would be cheating. There are other relationships where a close, intimate friendship, relationship with someone, physical or not, would be considered cheating. Every relationship is different, which is why it's so important to have the conversations about what are the rules of the relationship. It also will clarify for you if you are with somebody who has different rules than you do. I am not a huge advocate for expecting your partner to change their rules because your rules are different. I'm also not a huge advocate for saying, I don't care what you're going to do, my rules are my rules, and I'm only following these. Basically, it comes down to individual or multiple person choice. If you're okay with having different rules than your partner, then have different rules from your partner. But establish that. Make sure that you're on the same page about the fact that these are the rules for you, these are the rules for them. Because whatever that looks like for you has to be really clear in order for you to feel secure in that relationship. So let's talk about signs for a second. Signs that monkey branching is happening in your relationship or that you're doing it. Because honestly, if you're not aware of this and the ramifications of this, you might be the one doing it. Number one, the partner accuses you of cheating or flirting or otherwise disrespecting them or the relationship. And those accusations are unfounded. If you know this person that you're in a committed relationship with, and what feels like suddenly to you, they begin to question your motives, accuse you of cheating, accuse you of all sorts of different things that really amount to disloyalty, it could be they're projecting. If these other things are also happening, I would say this is projecting. If none of the rest of these are happening, then this one thing, them accusing you suddenly when you feel like you've done nothing wrong, is probably not an indicator of monkey branching, but it is an indicator of a loss of trust somehow, somewhere in the relationship. Maybe your partner's lost trust in themselves and therefore lost trust in the relationship. It might not be anything you've done, but a conversation needs to happen. Sign number two, your partner is gaslighting you when you try to bring up to them that things have changed. Say your partner isn't as affectionate as they used to be, or they're not as engaged as they used to be in the relationship or in relationship activities, and you bring it up to them, and they say,
what are you talking about? That's crazy.
I still feel the same. I haven't done anything different.
You're imagining things.
All of those are gaslighting. If someone brings you their concerns and you turn it around on them as their issue, that is gaslighting. Number three, distraction. And I'm talking increased distraction. This person is increasingly distracted from your presence, from your time together, from things that you used to do. There's clearly an epidemic at this point in time of people being so focused in on their phones that they are not engaging with their partner, with their families, with their friends. They're doom scrolling and not engaging in their everyday life. I know my wife and I find ourselves doing that fairly often, where we're watching something on TV and we're scrolling on our phones, and we'll look at each other sometimes and be like, What are we doing? Why are we doing this? There's something on television. If we're not engaged in it, why are we spending our time looking at it? Why don't we talk to each other? Play a game together, or I don't know, go to bed because we work a lot of hours. The key here is a change in engagement. They are no longer engaged. They are on their phone constantly. They're conversing with other people on a regular basis. Maybe they still have dating apps on their phone from when you met or when you first got together, and they're still on them. They can become secretive about their phone or about their interactions on apps. Maybe they don't want you to see their Instagram or Twitter DMs. Maybe they don't let you just use their phone to text somebody or to take a picture or whatever. There's a reason for that. Now, again, it could be a multitude of reasons, and that requires a conversation to decipher what the reason is. Are you catching this yet? Communication is the key here in all of these. Number 4, flirts with other people in front of you in a way that makes you uncomfortable. Again, this is very specific to particular relationships. Some people have zero problem with their partner flirting. Some people have zero problem with their partner flirting as long as they're there also, or as long as it's somebody they know. Whatever the rules are, somebody who is blatantly flirting with someone in a way that you have expressed and are continuing to express makes you uncomfortable. That person still doing that is an indicator of their amount of respect that they're holding for you and your wishes. That is a sign. And lastly, it's sort of a twofold. They have a history of going from relationship to relationship to relationship with very little downtime in between. Same hand, different finger. You got together with them very fast. They got out of a relationship. You got together. It went really, really fast. And all of a sudden you're in a relationship and you're just very relationshipy without putting in that time on the front end to make sure that everyone had the conversations they needed to have, prepped themselves internally for getting into a new relationship. If you're coming out of a relationship, to go immediately into the next one means you are kind of going in on less than solid ground. This impacts the queer community specifically because of all the other things that I've said over the years about heteronormativity and compulsory heterosexuality. Because queerness is so sexualized and because it is broken down to just who you are sexually attracted to or who you are having sex with or not having sex with. This idea of having to constantly be in a relationship in order to validate your own existence is hugely prevalent. Also, when you're in a relationship, you don't always have to deal with your own baggage. You can sort of put it to the side while you're dealing with the relationship. Then once your baggage starts to creep in, there's comfort in the relationship and you're starting to deal with the things that are coming up for you, you go on to the next one because then you have that rush of a new relationship and all of the beautiful immediate intimacy that then needs to be worked on later in the relationship. Right? If you can keep yourself in that zone long enough, it feels like you can outrun your baggage, but you can't because your baggage is in you. When your relationship starts to even out, it gets comfortable and it gets to a place where you start to really know each other on that deeper level and know yourself on that deeper level. If you are running from yourself, that's where you're going to cut, but you're not going to do it before you have someone else there because being alone is scary. I think that monkey branching as a whole is indicative of low self-esteem on behalf of the person who is doing the relationship to relationship dance. I also think it's indicative of a lack of communication in a relationship. Because if you're communicating your needs and the other person is communicating back to you about what needs they're willing to meet and what needs they're not willing to meet, you should know where you stand. If you have a history of being swung from, however, I would suggest you do some looking in yourself. Not that it's your fault, but what is it that you're looking for that attracts you to these people who are emotionally unavailable to you? Because make no mistake, someone who is a monkey brancher, someone who is swinging from relationship to relationship is not emotionally available to anyone for a long period of time. They're not in a place where they can do that. Is there something that you're not valuing enough in yourself? And therefore, you don't realize that you deserve better than that because you do. That's it for today. Thank you so much for being here. If you'd like to learn more about intensity in queer relationships, go ahead and check out this video right here. And I will see you all next week. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other.